Okay, in section 6.1 here, we're going to be finding the inverse of a function, and then on the other side of this, we're going to be solving equations, and then if we have any extraneous solutions, we'll be discarding those. Good? And we'll talk about what those are on the other side. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to start off finding some inverses. And recall that in order to find an inverse, there are two steps. Step one, you are going to switch x and y. So you're going to switch x and y. And second step will be to solve what you have there for y. Okay. So just two steps, switch x and y, and then solve for y. So let's look at problem number 1. First step, we're going to make the y an x, and we're going to make the x a y. Okay. And then what we're going to do to solve for y, we're going to go through PEMDAS, which is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which is parentheses and exponents, multiplication, division, adding, subtracting. And you normally work through it in this sequence, and do the inverse, you're going to work in the reverse sequence. Okay? So we would have to get rid of any addition and subtraction first, which we don't have, then multiplication and division, which in this case we have multiplication by 4, so we're going to undo that by dividing. So we divide the other side by 4, and you're just left with y squared. And then we can get rid of the exponent and get rid of a squared by doing the opposite, which is square root. That square root's over that entire side. And anytime you take the square root of both sides, any even root, you have a positive or negative in front. Okay? So that is the first problem. So let's do a second one here. So again, we are going to switch the x and the y. So x equals 1/2 y squared. And we're going to work backwards. So do we have any adding and subtracting? We do not. We do have multiplication by a half. So we're going to do the opposite, which is divide by a half. But when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. We talked about that in the last unit. So the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2. So we multiply the x by 2. And you get 2x equals y squared. And then just like in the last problem, you get rid of the squared by square rooting. So square root of 2x, and there's always a positive and negative in front of that. Okay? So let's look at number 3. Switch x and y. You get x equals 4 cubed root of y. So we don't have any adding or subtracting here, but we do have multiplication by 4. So we're going to divide by 4. So this is x over 4 equals the cubed root of y. So then we can do the exponent, which is technically the 1/3 power here, because the root would be the 1/3 power. So we bring over the root by cubing, because the opposite of cube root is cubing. So we're going to cube this entire side, which gets you y equals x over 4 quantity cubed. Okay? And it might not be a bad idea to just go over that. To undo a squared, you will square root. To get rid of a cube, you will cube root. To get rid of a 4th power, you 4th root. Or the reverse is true. To get rid of a 4th root, you take it to the 4th power. To get rid of a cube root, you take the cube. Square root, square. Okay? Okay, so if we did number 4, switch x and y, x equals cubed root of y over 2. So it looks like we have division by 2 first that we have to get rid of since we have no adding and subtracting. So this gets you 2x equals the cubed root of y, and then get rid of the cube root by cubing. So this is 2x quantity cubed equals y. Okay. We'll do one more here. Number 5, switch x and y. X equals 8 times y minus 1 cubed. Okay. And then we're going to slowly undo this. We do have subtraction here, but that's in parentheses, so that's going to fall under the parentheses part here. So that's going to be last. Okay. So We're going to start by getting rid of the multiplication, so that means we have to divide. Okay, and then we got to do inside the parentheses last, so we have to get rid of the power. So to get rid of a power of 3, you cube root. Okay, oops, this should be a minus here, sorry. And to get the minus 1 over to the other side, you are going to add 1. Okay. Remember, this is a minus. That was a mess up on my part. Okay. So that's how you find inverse functions. Okay.